Jonathan, if we could begin first of all, could you just tell us about the current surge that we're experiencing in COVID cases?
Sure. Well, I'm sure it's not come as any surprise to anybody. I mean, we are moving into winter. We've removed all of the restrictions. Kids are back at school, and there is still a relatively high proportion of people in the population who haven't been vaccinated or aren't fully vaccinated, especially the younger kids. And this really creates the engine of transmission. I mean, with everybody passing on to each other. So numbers are expected to come up during the winter, but it's not necessarily something that we need to be alarmed about because hospital admissions and ICU admissions are very much under control still, which is great.
And we've talked about different types of tests that are available. Tell me why PCR testing is still so important.
Well, I mean, testing as a whole is very important. With high numbers of positivity in the community, it's providing the opportunity for evolution to happen, for viruses to develop new variants and get around vaccines. So we must identify those positive people and isolate them, even now, so that we can ensure that we're not providing this opportunity for them to evolve. And also, of course, vaccines don't prevent you from actually getting it; they prevent you from getting severe disease. So it really is important for us to keep testing. And the difference between lateral flow and PCR testing is that the lateral flow tests are looking at the proteins, whereas the PCR tests are looking at the RNA genome of the virus. And the way in which PCR works, it amplifies. It's like a molecular photocopier. It makes lots of copies of the genome so that we can detect it more easily. With lateral flow tests, you can't amplify the number of proteins. And so you're only detecting what you can. And so the sensitivity of PCR testing is much, much higher than lateral flow tests. And this doesn't mean to say that lateral flow tests are useless. They're very important in picking up those people with lots of virus in their bodies. But they will miss a portion of people who have lower levels of virus, those who are just developing the disease. And that's why PCR testing is really important, to really capture everything else.
And of course, we spoke about the many uses and variety of settings that QPOC is suitable for. Just tell us, how did the idea for QPOC come about?
Yes, QPOC came about many, many moons ago. I was attending a lecture by Craig Ventnor, and he was telling us that he just finished the first draft of the human genome. And in his talk, he talked about a brave new future where one day we'll even be able to do this kind of genetic testing on portable handheld devices. And it was at that moment that I thought, well, I really want to build one of those. It's taken me a few decades to get round to it, but here we are. And over the past 10, 13 years, we've been building QPOC. And that's really its genesis. And we really were focusing early days on another respiratory disease, tuberculosis. And so a lot of the lessons that we've been learning over these many years has allowed us to quickly develop a test to QPOC and make QPOC very relevant for SARS-CoV-2.
And just to make it absolutely clear for people why this is such an exciting development, just take us through again some of the main benefits of the QPOC.
Well, I mean, when you think about PCR testing, everybody knows that now. You go into a testing site, you get your swab, and your swab gets packaged up and sent off to a mysterious laboratory in Milton Keynes, where 24 to 72 hours you get your test result back. What we want to do and what we have done is to change that paradigm. We've made a very portable, battery-operated, very, very easy-to-use box. It's so easy to use that my 11-year-old niece has been able to use it. A device that is able now to run a PCR test from a swab sample in under 30 minutes. And so this completely changes the testing paradigm and means that we can get PCR quality tests in the same time period as a lateral flow test. And so this is going to be really exciting for travel testing, for hospital triage, and for in-office testing, for instance. So it really is an exciting time for us as a company.
For anyone who wants to find out more about QPOC, where can they go for more information?
Well, just visit our website at www.QuantuMDx.com.